Initial attraction between two people is a very important thing to have when you're going on to date somebody. Well, let's say you wanted to date your coworker. We'll call her Diane. She's everything you ever wanted physically. She's like 10 out of 10. She's got the same religion as you, lifestyle choices, couple of funny jokes on the side too. But do you really know her outside of work? I have a, actually have a work crush, but I actually don't know if I want to anymore. We'll call her Sandy. She's very cool. She's a very chill person. She comes to work on time. She, excuse the mic touch, does the due diligences that she's supposed to do, and I like that worth ethic within her. It shows drive for what she wants to be, which is a veterinarian. So good on her for that. And I believe where we are will definitely help her towards her goals. For me, I don't want to go and pursue this relationship because I have a fear that it'll ruin the work environment. And I really like the job that I have right now. And keep everything to a minimum, you know? Not to say, well, yeah, suppress your feelings, dude. You gotta kind of stuff everything into a bottle in order to not have the risk of awkwardness within the halls, you know? Because let's say you do get together with Diane here. What's next after that? You're gonna take her on a couple more dates. Um, she really gets to know you more. You really get to know her. What happens if it just doesn't work out though? Like after you know her, after you really get to know her, what if it doesn't work? Then what do you have to back off of? You know, you'll have to break up or something, or unless you want to keep a psychotic mentality of just keeping somebody just for the sake of keeping somebody. But I don't believe anybody would want to do that. It'll ruin the work environment for you and Diane because after a breakup or like after you two getting intimate with each other in like romantic or in a romantic way, it could also create fringes between other friendships. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the possibility that Diane has a friend named Greg on the side that had a thing for her? You never knew about it. So why take the risk of wanting to go for it? Because you want somebody? Or actually, here's an argument I've heard. You want to go for the coworker because they're not only good for you, but you also just want to take the risk because you think they're worth the risk, kind of thing. What really defines pain then at that point? Can you feel anything after a while? Because I've experienced the kind of pain. And back in 2025, I had an ex, and when we broke up, she took all the friends that we had away. And I think that has stained my perspective, of course. So don't take any of my advices or advice, my talks as life advice or dating advice, because we all are human. So I'm just saying these rants because most of the stuff that I think about needs to be put on a plate, and I hope somebody eats it. You know, making a dish. I don't know if it's bad or good. Anyhow, dating your coworkers comes at a cost, no matter what. Everything comes at a cost. Nothing comes free. Whether it be time, people, money, you name it, it probably cost it. There's something out there that'll cost it. But the worst cost usually is time and people. Because if you risk people, you risk memories, you risk time that could be used towards gaining experiences. You know what I'm saying? Versus time, you're just wasting your time. And at that point, you would just leave the scenario no matter what. Both are very valuable in today's society, but not a lot of people value those things anymore. I've seen it personally within like not they're not groupies, but people that surround themselves with one person mainly and make them their whole lives. Those are called groupies in my book. And with that usually comes like a kind of obsession with them, if you will. Not like Curry Barker's obsession where they're standing at the door, you know, waiting for them to come home, shitting on the floor and whatnot. With those sacrifices, everything comes at a risk, you know? What are you willing to give? That's why I say dating your coworkers probably won't work. It really depends on what you're willing to give up in the end. I started off this video with saying how the cons mainly outweigh the pros, but that's from my experience. There are also pros in the sense that you find somebody that actually respects what you think sometimes, and you know, it could be a good thing that you both break up in the end and you actually are friends afterwards, but that is very rare to find based off my experience. And you've never been able to see something so nice, if you will. Nothing ever comes free. Still, moving on. Dating your coworkers needs to come with guidelines, conditions, and like a prenup, if you will, but for yourself. Think of the risks and the pros with it. You can potentially have your future soulmate. You can marry this person one day. It's very easy to get with your coworkers now, especially since you work with them so often and you're so connected with them. You might actually start talking on your lunch breaks. Who knows? That's why it's what makes it so easy. Get to know people before you commit to them. Risk does not outweigh reward all the time. Sometimes you have to evaluate your standards, what you want in a person, and if some things match up so perfectly, maybe it's not. Like, something can be too good to be true. You have to acknowledge. You have to remember that sometimes people can be too good to be true. Not just things and inanimate objects, because that aren't people. But when people are too good to be true, then it's like a commercial, if you will. Take like the Nerf or Nothing commercials. They would always advertise these sick World War II, getting in the trenches, getting trench foot and eating griddle off a plate while shooting your best friends with a fake gun kind of action. But then when you actually get the gun, you realize you have no friends. And you're probably just sitting there with a couple of guns in your hand, thinking I might just shoot my hat over there and knock it off the wall or something. I'm not projecting, I swear. But it's kind of like that. People can advertise this such a good look and how positive they are in their lifestyle. That's why I don't personally use social media as much. Although I have it just to stay in contact with people, I don't look at their profiles because then it'll bring me down. It brings my hopes up immediately in order just for it to be torn down, you know? Because once you get to know a person, you realize they're the person you want them to be, and at that point, it's a waste of time. See? Risk and reward. I have an example of a girl that I used to like back in high school. Her name, we'll call her J Janice, sure, or Janice. She was very very good looking, but her personality stood a lot out to me because just the way that she treated others and the way that she looked at me in the halls. Although it's very minuscule and I was a senior and she was a junior, it still seems like, it affected me somehow. She was able to oh, mesmerize me, if you will. Everything about her just captivated me, and I barely even knew her. Janice here has a strong personality, which magnetized me in. I feel like I repeated that a couple times by now. But when I finally had the courage to ask her out, she said that she would, but not really. And that confused me. And that equaled a waste of time. I was willing to make that risk for her, but at the same time, it wasted my time, you know? All this time flourishing over her. Which is why you gotta have balls. You gotta have confidence in order at the get-go. If you like this girl, ask her out, dude. Don't waste any time. Just straight up do it. Don't fester over it for a long period of time. Unless it's your coworker, then you kind of have to suppress your feelings at sometimes. Because with my coworker, I'm not gonna ruin the work relationship that we have right now, and possibly do worse at work because I see somebody that turned me down or somebody that I found out had a boyfriend. It's not worth the risk to me, which is probably why it'll never work out. But at the same time, this could also just be me ranting about how I'm so afraid to actually commit to something. That is something that I think about a lot, is my commitment issues. So if you guys ever need a reason to not listen to my advice, then you could just always use the excuse that I can never commit to a woman, you know? At least not yet. I've learned over the years how to treat, or at least the way I want to treat a woman, you know? Because actually, that doesn't sound right at all. I'm trying to make it sound like I've dated enough girls to know that, like, I don't know if it's like caveman mentality. It's like, man must provide kind of thing. You must be strong, you must be good willed, you must be good hearted. But I say if you're kind enough to the girl and you actually make her feel seen in today's society, in today's culture, then you'll probably get her. Take that with a grain of salt, you know? So most girls are pretty powerful now, especially with the conditions that are being presented today, you know? Like more women are starting to go into power. And I respect it, of course. I'm not, dang it, dude. I swear I'm a feminist, guys. I love women, 7 foot volleyball player. I hate period cramps. I'm just playing. Respect one another, love one another, and evaluate risks with one another. Lesson of today's video.